EA is on Twitch. Join us Wednesday nights when Alistair, that's me, reads a bedtime story, and Sunday mornings for a few hours of chill gaming. Plus interviews, special guests, pickup streams, and more. Visit twitch.tv/EA podcasts and follow us to be notified when we go live. Plus access VODs of past broadcasts.
Escape Pod. Episode 890. The Mechanical Turk Has a Panic Attack. By Francis Bass.
Hello, and welcome to Escape Pod, your weekly science fiction podcast. I'm your host this week, Tina Connolly, and I'm here to bring you The Mechanical Turk Has a Panic Attack by Francis Bass. This story first appeared in Uncharted magazine. Francis Bass is a writer living in Philadelphia. His writing has appeared in Reckoning, Electric Literature, and others, and he has self-published many other works. You can find him online at francisbass.com and on Twitter at Francis R. Bass. Your narrator this week is Valerie Valdez. In addition to co-editing Escape Pod, Valerie Valdez lives in an elaborate meme palace with her husband and kids where she writes, edits, and moonlights as a muse. She enjoys crafting bespoke artisanal curses, playing with swords, and admiring the outdoors from the safety of her living room. Her debut novel, Chilling Effect, was shortlisted for the 2021 Arthur C. Clarke Award and was also named one of Library Journal's best SF/fantasy novels of 2019. Her short fiction and poetry have been featured in Uncanny, Time Travel Short Stories, and Nightmare Magazine. Join her in opining about books, video games, and parenting on Twitter at Valerie Valdez, or find links to her work at candleinsunshine.com. Your audio producer this week is Summer Brooks. So get ready to try the seasonal cheese board, because it's story time.
The Mechanical Turk Has a Panic Attack by Francis Bass. Narrated by Valerie Valdez. Gab gripped her right wrist with her left hand at the small of her back. "Are we ready to order?" she asked. The couple set their menus down on the brushed steel tabletop. It wobbled slightly. The man asked, "What's on the cheese board?" The seasonal cheese board is a selection of the best the Delaware Valley has to offer in vegan cheeses. This month it contains a fermented cashew mozzarella, real lacto pepperjack from Penlab, and a soft Pennsylvania Dutch Limburger made from coconut cream. The board also comes with stone seed crackers, torn sourdough, and raw tree bark. "Oh, tree bark," the woman said. "We had that at George's retirement, remember?" "Let's get one of those," the man said. "What type is it?" the woman asked. "The bark?" "We source our tree bark from Adlaw forests," Gab said. "It comes from Adlaw pine, a engineered variant of Virginia pine. We use it raw on our seasonal cheese board and salad one, and pulverized in our pine bread." A long silence. The woman squinted at her menu. Gab gripped her wrist tighter. She couldn't leave. They had to dismiss her. "That's all," the man said. No, the salad 2, the woman said. "Salad 3. "Those will be out in 10 minutes or less." Gab turned and walked toward the back of the restaurant. "Cheese board, salad 3, table 6. Bring a furniture wedge, too, to stop that table rocking. Real high class. None of the tables can stand on this busted floor, nails sticking out all over." "Can these be taken?" Gab stopped before table 9, the corner booth. Hand extended at 45 degrees, gesturing at a pair of mostly empty plates at seats 1 and 3, her fingertips a foot or more away from any of the diners. "Oh, yes," the cute guy in seat 1 said. Gab lifted both plates from the table, stacked right over left. "Oh, waiter, Gab," the guy said, reading the tag on her breast pocket. "Yes." "What's on the cheese board?" Even more than usual, Gab wished she could break script now to flirt with this person. "The seasonal cheese board is a selection of the best the Delaware Valley has to offer in vegan cheeses. This month..." She hated the script. Not because it was hard, no, she was good at memorization, and not because the customers were a little ruder thinking they were talking to an android. "And raw tree bark." "Oh, that sounds good," the guy said. "What do you all think?" "Repeat it again," the old man in seat 4 said. "Didn't catch that." "The seasonal cheese board." She hated how claustrophobic it was. She hated never joking with customers or chatting with the other servers. She hated being in permanent show mode. Being unable to abridge things when she was short on time, which she was now, was also a pain. "And raw tree bark." The table agreed to get the cheese board and thanked her. Her eyes caught on table 2, on the other side of the dining floor, her side. She'd taken their order 15 minutes ago, but still the table was bare metal, only napkins and glasses between the 2 diners. "Water!" A man stuck his arm out in front of Gab, and she almost crashed into it. He held an empty glass jug, which she took from him. She searched for the right phrase for a moment, then recited, "We'll refill that right now." "Cheese board and salad 3 at table 6. Tell Dave they've got a cheese board at corner booth. Water for table 11. Yell at Dewey about table 2's food." Finally, she made it back to the server station, an area in the back by the bathrooms, separated from the rest of the restaurant by a chest-high wall. It used to be fully cut off from the restaurant so the servers could drop the android act, talk to one another while they polished glasses and punched orders into their tablets. But since Fadma, the manager/owner, had initiated her latest spree of renovations, the area was now visible and audible to any patrons that cared to look this way. "To show that we have nothing to hide," Fadma had said. "Eventually we'll get glass floors to look down into the kitchen, too." Even though they did have something to hide, they were not, in fact, a high-scale avant-garde restaurant with a full complement of expensive android servers. Their food was sourced as cheap as they could get it, and most of their dish ideas were stolen from real avant-garde restaurants in Manhattan. Gab opened the fridge to grab a jug of water, only to find there were none. Just a few green pitchers of calcium water. She'd have to refill this empty jug downstairs. And where was Dave? Gab scanned the row of perfectly postured servers at the station and didn't see them. Down in the kitchen, then. She had to get down there to ask Dewey about table 2 anyway, so she lifted her tablet from where it was hidden in a shelf behind the wall. Nothing to hide, except the fact they were not androids that could wirelessly beam their orders to the kitchen. They still had to use tablets and sometimes badger the chef about late orders, which Gab headed down to do now. Down a set of steep stairs into the basement, empty jug in one hand and tablet in the other, her thumb working to input cheese board and salad 3, no, go back, not salad 2, salad 3, into the tablet. She reached the bottom of the stairs and stepped into the kitchen, scanned for Dave. Nowhere. "Gab, it's ready. Take it." Dewey, the short, bald chef, gestured at several plates of food haphazardly placed on the edge of the clean dishes shelf. Dewey turned her back on Gab, stirring an enormous pot of pumpkin bisque. "Wait," Gab said, setting the empty jug and the tablet down atop a drum of almond butter. "Who's all this for?" "You," Dewey shouted, not looking up from the soup. "Table 2." Gab looked at the plates. 2 salads, a tomato pie, fried greens with acorn meatballs. Dewey, I just need the salads. I didn't fire their mains yet." Take it, Dewey said, ladling some of the bisque into a bowl. "There's no space. Get it out of here." "You're killing me," Gab said. "I love you, Gabriella." Dewey turned to her now, bowl of bisque in hand. "Now move, take them, until Dave table 7 is ready." "Where are they?" Dewey shrugged. "Staff meal better be killer," Gab said, picking up the 2 salads. She should carry them in 2 trips, but there wasn't time for that, so she extended her right arm and said, "Put them on." Dewey set down the soup and balanced the greens and the tomato pie on Gab's forearm. Gab walked up the stairs, right arm as level as possible. Still need that water, the furniture wedge, Dave wherever the hell they are, Still need to put in table 6's order, unless I did already? Not sure. She reached the top of the stairs, walked past the other servers, right arm steady, looked to table 6, and the bottom of her toe bumped the protruding edge of a floorboard. Her foot stuttered, and the plate of tomato pie and the plate of greens with meatballs slid and fell from her arm. One plate cracked, the other thumped and rolled. Cooked spinach and kale spattered the floor, mixed with ceramic shards. Tomato sauce covered Gab's shoe. She stood still in the mess. What does an android do now? Clean? But she had these plates, the salads that hadn't fallen, still clutched in her hands. Where could she put them? Can't put them on the dirty floor, no clear tables. As a human, she would have asked, "Can I put this here? Do you mind?" Place them on some diner's table. But that wasn't in the script. This wasn't in the script. Or she'd forgotten her lines here. Her muscles cramped. The salad plate in her right hand quivered. Wet sauce soaked into her socks. Diners turned to stare. The cute guy at the booth stared. Do something! Be an android! But the plates, the stupid plates in her hands, getting heavy now? Where could she put them? Her heart rattled fast. She was running out of air. Don't breathe hard, you're an android. She slowed it, sipped small breaths through her nose. Instantly her chest clamped hard, her lungs burned, trapped. She was trapped by these two plates. They would know, they would see. She was no android, and Fatma would fire her. The only job she could hold, the only one she was qualified for. More diners looking at her, some of them probably recording this. Stock-still server having a panic attack and standing in a puddle of spinach and tomato sauce. She had to do something. Scream! Throw down the salads! Shout that it's a scam, that we're all fake androids. Let out the rage you bite down, the rage you hide from the customers, from Fatma. Scream! Fired, no job, no way to get a reference. Unless she lied more. Stay on script in job interviews, stay on script at internships, stay on script for the rest of her life. Drop the salad, ruin their dinner, let them hear a human scream. Ella appeared before her, the hostess, the only staff member allowed to act her human self. She took the 2 plates of salad Gab still held, apologized to the corner booth, and temporarily set the plates on their table. Then she took both of Gab's hands and guided them down to the floor. Gab knelt and picked up the largest ceramic shards, while Ella took away what was left of the tomato pie and its plate. Ella returned with a broom and some sandy rags, and Gab, in stiff movements, the proper android, helped her clean. Gab walked to the server station, then down to the basement, away from the kitchen and into the storage area. She opened the walk-in freezer and stepped inside and started crying. And there was Dave in the freezer, sitting on a footstool with their head between their legs. She kept crying, staring at quart containers of oat milk. Breathing deep now, she sobbed. Hot, wet tears and cold filling her body, cold tomato sauce in her right shoe. The door opened. Ella was standing there. How long had Gab been in here sobbing? The water, Dave's table, and kitchen needs to remake those meals. If she even had a job still. Was she fired? Was she done with this place? Hey, Ella said. Fatma wants to talk to all the servers for a quick huddle. Okay, Gab said. She wiped tears from her face, sniffed, breathed deep. Put on her best server face. Hated how quickly she could do that. Dave followed out behind her, and they went to the far end of the storage room, into Fatma's cramped basement office. An array of monitors displayed overhead cam footage of the dining area, with a few screens showing the kitchen and storage space. Fatma stood in front of the monitors, saying hi as the servers squeezed in. Gab, at the head of the line, managed to claim a spot in the corner farthest from Fatma and those monitors. She could see on the middle screen, instead of a live feed, it was a recording, paused. There Gab was, plates loaded on her arm, moments before falling. Okay, everyone, quick huddle, Fatma said. Fire me. She'd be screwed. She'd be herself at least. So I wanted to use this as a teachable moment. This is Gab. Where's Gab? Hi. So here's Gab, and watch what happens here. Fatma pressed play on the screen, and there Gab stumbled, then stopped and let the plates fall, and stayed frozen for a while. Then Ella showed up, took her plates, and they started cleaning. Had it really happened that fast? "So, Ella, great job, and Gab, amazing," Fad beamed. "This really sells the effect of an avant restaurant and elevates the dining experience. Not the tripping, but freezing in place like that. When I went to the dentist to do their tasting menu, the android at another table spilled a glass of water at one point and froze just like that. If Gab had started panicking or apologizing to everyone, it would have ruined the whole avant-garde theme that we're going for. Instead, she met our customers' expectations and confirmed for them the kind of experience that they come here for. All right, I know you've all got lots of tables, so I'll let you get back to it. Thanks for being my teachable example, Gab." Gab's legs shook as she walked out of the room. She told Dave about the corner booth's order. She told Dewey to fire Table 2's mains again, finished putting in Table 6's order, and finally filled the jug of water, for she didn't remember who, only to see that someone else had already gotten them a new jug. When Dave's cheese board came up, Gab asked to take it to the table instead. Dave obliged. They were hardly keeping it together anyway. In the doorway to the basement, just out of sight of the diners, Gab took a paper napkin and a ballpoint pen. She pressed the napkin to the door jamb and scrawled her cell number on it. She folded it over itself several times, then took the cheese board from Dave. She walked out to the corner booth, pointed out the Limburger, the pepper jack, the mozzarella, the crackers, the sourdough, the tree bark. She set the thick wood slab down on the table and left the napkin tucked under one corner, the corner closest to the cute guy at seat 1. Maybe he wouldn't notice it. Maybe he'd think it was from the kitchen. Maybe he would get Gab fired. Maybe he'd call. And maybe a human would pick up.
And we're back, and again, that was The Mechanical Turk Has a Panic Attack by Francis Bass, narrated by Valerie Valdez. About this story, Bass says, "It is never as simple as robots taking workers' jobs. More often, the threat of machines or AI is leveraged against workers to make their jobs more precarious, and the workers more easily exploited. Or the machines are implemented, but they are mechanical Turks, while obscured humans continue to do most of the real work." And about this story, I say, I really like the empathetic way this near-future science fiction story looked at some of the potential fallouts of changes in society. Escape Pod recently ran another story, Hey George by Elizabeth Gilt, that also looked at this particular intersection of the people who wait on us and the technology used to ensure that that help stays as invisible as possible. I really liked here the way that Bass showed Gab trying to be the best machine she could be, even though she could be a better server if she were allowed to be a human. It clearly showed both the challenges of working in food service in general, the constant lists in her head about what table needs what and when, but now also having to layer this extra role on top of it. As Bass's story points out, there continue to be jobs that require a human to do it, but for various reasons, the person paying would prefer not to have to think of said human as a person. They would like the transaction to be seamless and machine-like, even if we still need a person behind the scenes, carrying out that illusion for the comfort of everyone else. Or, as Bass states, it's never as simple as robots taking workers' jobs. Escape Pod is a part of the Escape Artist Foundation, a 501c3 nonprofit, and this episode is distributed under the Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivatives 4.0 International License. Don't change it, don't sell it, please go forth and share it. How do you share it, you ask? Well, in addition to your social media of choice, consider rating and or reviewing us on podcast listening sites such as Apple or Google. More reviews makes for more discoverability, makes for more Escape Pod for you. Escape Pod relies on the generous donations of listeners exactly like you. And remember that Patreon subscribers have access to exclusive merchandise and can be automatically added to our Discord, where you can chat with other fans as well as our staff members. So if you enjoyed our story this week, then consider going to escapepod.org or patreon.com/EA Podcasts and casting your vote for more stories that write their cell phone number on the napkin. Our opening and closing music is by Daikaiju at daikaiju.org. And our closing quotation this week is from Douglas Adams in The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, who said, "This planet has, or rather had, a problem, which was this. Most of the people living on it were unhappy for pretty much of the time. Many solutions were suggested for this problem, but most of these were largely concerned with the movement of small green pieces of paper, which was odd, because on the whole, it wasn't the small green pieces of paper that were unhappy." Thanks for listening, and have fun.